All right, everybody. Welcome to 3 Wide After Dark. We have your usual suspects here. Everybody who I think can all say they hate Texas, and we're just going to pretend like last week didn't happen. Say hello, everybody. Hey, Corey.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hey, Race.
Hi.
Hey, Drew.
Hello.
All right, great. So, fuck Texas. We were actually going to record that podcast. Corey couldn't show up. I believe he was making setups for Vegas. And we all just kind of agreed that conversation wasn't going to go anywhere. It was just going to be a big fuck Texas. So, anyways, why don't we go to another mile and a half? I'm sure everybody would love that. Vegas this week. Yeah. This was kind of mixed, I'm sure. Initial thoughts on what transpired on the big track on Monday, Corey?
You know, I thought it was really awesome that we got that green flag run. And of course, a stupid caution brought it out. And we had a stupid ending. I mean, that's kind of been the trend this year. It just happened a little later than what we normally get it. I don't know, man. It was fun to get that long green flag run. I pitted a little bit earlier than I think a lot of people did. And it was just cool to see the tire differences. It was an enjoyable race up until the last little bit. Nick and Delicato, I feel for him just a little bit because he dominated and then got fucked at the end of that. And I nailed him. I raped that guy because
Oh my.
Why did I do that?
No, I said oh my.
Oh yeah. Oh my.
But why
yeah,
also?
right.
Yeah. Why?
But why? I was always told that you're supposed to aim for the smoke, which is exactly what I did. And turns out his car was behind the smoke, and I just nailed the shit out of him. Anyways, I'm talking too much, so I'm gonna move it to the next guy.
There's no such thing as talking too much in a podcast, Corey. Do you know how this works?
Never.
Right.
We all just speak out of our ass. Speaking of speaking out of his ass, Race, what's up?
Huh?
Vegas this week.
I agree with Corey. It was a great race. I also pitted early, like at 41, which I think as soon as the first person short pitted, I joined.
Was that short pitting though?
Well, yeah, because some people went even later, and it ended up paying off for them because I got to admit, I actually did a really good job of taking care of my tires early because I went from like 16th to like 8th or 9th under that first green flag run. And then pitted a little earlier than most for sure because by the time I had gotten out and made up my gains for short pitting, they came out brand spanking new tires. And it definitely made a difference over the run. And then, yeah, there was that caution. I don't even know what happened. I was just in such a hurry to get to the next race. I didn't look at replay. So I understand there was a caution, which sucked because I was really excited to see how it was going to go. And it was just fun. Like the sun going down. I love day to night races, how good it looks on iRacing. And then it had like a very anticlimactic finish. And then, the night ended right there, I think.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember what brought that up or brought that caution out either. I'm gonna go take a look.
So
Drew?
I looked at it.
Oh.
Hang on a second. I looked at it. I watched the whole entire race, and it was a 28 of Josh Clark, him and James Miller. I think they were 3 wide, and the 28 just didn't compensate for enough room, and he got into the 09 of James Miller. That brought out the yellow.
Wow. Well, Drew, I didn't see much of you. I didn't see much of anybody because I fucking sucked at the big track. But Drew, I didn't see much of you. Were you up at the front at all?
No. I qualified pretty well. I felt like I had good pace in practice, and then after, I don't know, man, 5 laps in the race, the right front just like felt like it was like a basketball, and I just couldn't turn the car, and I think I was like literally the last car like running that started the race at the normal time and didn't like have actual problems. I was just like last on pace like the vast majority of the race. I don't like cars that kind of use the right front right, like I like cars that use like the rear of the car that are more loose. It's just personal preference, right? I think the setup was pretty good, especially compared to Texas. but it just is. It didn't suit me, and I just was slow. And I was like in 21st before that caution came out, and then that stupidity on the restart gave me like 5 spots. So it worked out for me.
Good deal. Yeah. I was really upset that I overdrove the car first run. Thought we were gonna get a caution. Ha! That was a joke. So yeah, I had to run the whole like first half of the race on what I think the final outcome was like 40% left on my right front. So that was fun. And then yeah, that last caution happened, and I really don't know, anything other than that. Speaking of cautions, that kind of brings us into our first topic with that, the lack of cautions. The way that track drove kind of surprises me that we didn't get more. Did that kind of surprise any of you, Corey?
Yeah, man, it surprised the shit out of me. I don't know. It's such a wild card, man. I had no idea we were gonna get such a long run. It's awesome that we did, but I think that definitely screwed a lot of people because they were all going balls deep on the track. It was near flat out, so why not push it, right? And they definitely paid the consequences for that. And I think some of these guys, they just have it figured out. They can drive so smooth, and I guess a little bit more carefully than other guys, and they were able to save the tires, and that's why they were out front.
Indeed. Race.
Yeah, that was kind of my strategy from the get-go, is just hold on to the tires. Because I remember the last race.
No, wait. You're ruining my next topic. I was talking about the cautions. The lack of them.
Oh, my bad. Apologies.
Got to leave me some content, man.
The lack of cautions was awesome because you really get to experience, like Corey said, the tire fall off. My bad. I just misinterpreted what Corey said. But yeah, like the long runs, you get to experience like comers and goers and being able to I always love saving my tires and picking people off late and just knowing that they're starting to struggle and watching them having to check up out of the corner. That's fun. And I wish it would have gone green all 80 laps. I really wish it would have. I would like to see how that would have panned out.
Indeed. Drew?
Yeah, I think it was a nice change of pace from a lot of the races that we've had so far. Again, I didn't personally have a lot of fun in that race, but sometimes things are bigger than your certain perspective on things. So it was really good for the league. I was kind of surprised because especially like I had problems in the race out of 2, and when the car would just get really tight, and like I almost caused one when I got into the wall, and I just tried to keep it up in there because the leaders were coming to lap me. So I was kind of surprised that it happened based on just my anecdotal experience, but it was really awesome that we were able to have a really long green run. Just kind of unfortunate what happened at the end.
Indeed. Yeah. The main part about that, and this is going to transition into the next topic, race. I had a problem before where I would underdrive the car, and I guess this week I overdrove it without kind of realizing it, and never really was able to recover because of the lack of cautions. Like, I think it was Drew said, good for the league, obviously. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Good one.
But it was good for the race pace. I will say that. But for people who kind of screwed up, there was no chance to recover after that. So, yeah, when it came to tires, obviously, you either saved them or you destroyed them, which was, I think this was possibly a lot of people's first experience, at least in the league, but maybe in general, of the new tire model that we got with the national at 1.5 miles at least. I don't think we really drove. I think this was our first 1.5 miles. Correct me if I'm wrong, but our first. Well, I don't want to talk about Texas. We don't talk about Texas. But this was our first kind of real experience with that, I feel. Corey, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was cool. Honestly, when I was racing, I wasn't even considering about the tire model. I was just kind of going for it. It didn't quite have that kind of loosey-goosey start to it. I don't know if it was the setup or the weather or the sunset kind of thing we had going on. But yeah, man, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was slow, obviously, but it's still good. I don't know, man. I just gotta get better. I gotta figure my stuff out.
I hear you there. Race?
Yeah, hey, like it felt pretty good because I actually felt quick the whole run because I was just trying not to burn up the right front. Like Corey said, not even really thinking about the new tire. The setup itself felt great. I think Richard said he had to play in it. Felt great the whole run. It didn't feel goofy. It didn't snap on me. It wasn't landing on the splitter. I mean, the intermediate Vegas, that was probably one of my favorite races, league races of the K&N car so far this year. It was just a good old race. It was too bad that it had not ended so anticlimactically. I think it'd been a lot better because even like the late caution isn't a big deal. It's just the way it had to end. It was too bad, but it's just a good old race. There's not a lot of drama to it, and then it ended right there. Drama-free night.
I don't know about the drama. That definitely came in at the end, at least. But that's another topic that we'll get into. Yeah, I just want to point out that Corey Lindsay is such a pro that he is posting the dummies while podcasting, and I mean he's keeping up pretty well. So shout out to him.
I'm a pro multitasker.
Good on you.
Respect to that.
Yeah, wish I could learn some of that. All right, Drew.
Dude, yeah, I really struggled. And actually, when we did the preseason testing at the intermediate tracks, I felt the same thing, and I was kind of worried about it going into the season, especially because the season finale's at Atlanta, which isn't the worst 1.5. Like it's gonna hopefully be better than Texas. I think it's a little bit better than Vegas, especially because the tire wear. I think you get. We'll see. I hope it's better. I've always been kind of bad at 1.5s. I always apex too early, and then I'm scrubbing the right front, and I know it's something I need to work on. But it was pretty frustrating, just from my perspective, not being able to just keep the right front cool enough to make the car turn. But very few other people seem to have like at least the same intensity of that problem. Like I know Justin, you kind of hinted at it a little bit, but it's something I just got to figure out because it was really frustrating, and I'm sure my team was tired of me complaining about me not being able to get the car to turn. But I mean, I think everyone else, like I think the setup was pretty good. It just a couple guys seem to have a little bit of problem.
Yeah, for sure. Some people were better than other with that. The setup I felt was good. It was just more about holding yourself back, I guess, because there's a habit I have to break of let the car do what it wants rather than pushing it, a little further over that edge than you'd like to. And that's obvious. Right. That's what cost me that first run, at least. And just something that kind of have to break because I felt good, those first couple laps, obviously. And then the car just fell off a cliff because I pushed it off. So that was fun. One interesting call at the end, though, that really didn't play much of a factor in what happened. The 09, I forgot that he had gotten caught up in that wreck, decided to stay out. There was a lot of talk on the radio because everybody and their grandmother saw him with his hood up. But he keeps insisting that wasn't the case. Ultimately, that doesn't matter. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on him staying out, and just kind of the message that puts out there to other people who might want to do that. You guys can probably elaborate on it more than I can. Corey, we'll start with you.
Oh man, that's a toughie, man. I think that's a Cole Whitt move, right? He did that IRL in an Xfinity race, or was that Cup?
Xfinity.
I don't know, man. I will say that the hood thing is not in unison. Mm-hmm. Some guys will see your hood up while you're still driving just fine, and vice versa. So I don't quite know that whole situation. I don't know if he had damage or if it was just a tire difference. But there's nothing really you can do to police that. You can't force somebody to not, or to not pit or to stay out. Man, it's just like a courtesy thing, which we seem to lack. We've lacked for a while now. So I guess looking at that, you just gotta play it as a situational thing, and you know, go after the race and see if there's something that needs to be done. I guess.
Good take. Good take. Race.
I don't know if mine's the unpopular opinion or not, but I think as long as you're not damaged, like your car isn't severely off the pace, I think if it's just like a tire thing or a 2 tire, no fuel, no tire, or just staying out, I'm all for it. I think you should be smart about it. I don't think you should go on green and stamp on the gas and spin your tires. I think there's a way to do it and a way to restart when you're staying out. But as long as you're on pace, as long as you're on a competitive pace, I think you have a right to any piece of the tarmac on the track that I'm not, And if I'm faster, I should pass you, right? And if you block me and you're not faster, then hey, we know what happened. You know what I'm saying? So
I was gonna say, yeah, those
that's my
bumpers don't
opinion.
quite line up enough, anyways, for that to work out. So
yeah, you just go under the guy almost. You can't. You really can't. You really can't. Even if you're not getting a 0x, you can still make slight contact. And if you're putting a bunch of weight into the tires, that's all it really takes. You know what I'm saying?
Drew, I'm sure this is gonna be a good one.
I mean, I don't think it really had an impact on the finish. Like, I know that it was a talking point, and I think people in the race, like, kind of while it was unfolding, were really concerned. But ultimately, what caused that last caution was somebody trying to force a 3-wide where a 3-wide wasn't possible. It had nothing to do with the guy staying out. So,
Preach.
right? Like I think, would I do that? No, I wouldn't. But he was on the lead lap, regardless of if he had damage or not. He has the right to do that. Now, the only question I have, and I don't think this is the case, but I think it's something at least worth considering, and rather than just dismissing it, is I hope that there weren't games being played to help teammates win. I hope that was the case. But like, I don't know, like, he has the right to exist on the track, right? Like, he didn't make everybody else pit. He chose to set up his race to finish the best that he thought he could finish. And then, the stupidity happened behind him. So I can't fault the guy for it.
Yeah. And as I knew that was going to be a great take, that's one thing. I don't know if I said it before. That was not, an attack at James. Cause like you said everything that I would have said, he deserves to be out there. And the way he went about that start, I thought was fair. He, wasn't fast, so got on the gas, instantly got to the apron. And like you said, that didn't cause the wreck at all. It was something completely separate from that. But just the message that gives people of, people in the future possibly get the idea, well, James Miller did, so I'm going to do it too. That's the main thing I want to look out for. As Corey said, I mean, there's already kind of a lost respect that I'd like to gain back before the end of the season, but that's just my thought on that.
Can we just say that green white checkers suck ass and we shouldn't be doing them?
I don't know about that, because
Yeah.
Has anything ever positive happened after a green white checker?
I agree that particularly like when there's one attempt at the end of the race, it has been a fiesta each time. But it's like just as depressing as like when the race just ends under caution. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're done. Go home. It's just like there's no winning when dudes act like goobers on the end, unfortunately.
I don't know. At least whenever it ends under yellow, it's a little bit more civilized.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
That I agree with as well. But at the same time, I always get, like Grace said, he said it perfectly. It's, get a little depressed. You're like, all right, well, that's over. I guess I don't get to, get any more out of this. So, speaking, well, on the other end of the spectrum, something we can do without for a very, very long time. We go across the street from the big track to the little track. The there's so much we can say about this. I don't even have any topics set for this. We can kind of just open up, I guess, because I don't even know where you start with this race.
Start with the race or like me race?
Start with, I guess we can start with you race if you'd like. I mean, this was more like open because I don't even know what to say about this race. I mean, the track itself was fun, but the fact that we had a caution every 5 laps kind of sucked all the fun out really quickly.
Well, I guess since I already spoke, I'll start. I don't think the track was very fun. I think it was just a bit like I feel like by yourself it was fun, but just to make a pass competitively, it was so difficult with like the way the cars handled there. Because like to pitch it to the guy on the inside, by the time you got to the apex, your nose was almost looking at like the wall. So you had to like do a hard left, and you could use the apron a little bit. It's just I see why it went the way it did. I wish it hadn't. I mean, I was seriously like, moaning and groaning to my teammates Drew, Richard, and Kevin because I was just so over it in the 100s when we were just cautioning. I had like 6 friends watching that, and I literally had to apologize after. I was like, "Shit, sorry." Shit. I was like, "Y'all tuning in tonight?" And they actually had like high praise for the first Vegas race, and then for the grand finale, we showed them a little bit of that. Other than that, I mean, I felt like no one was even really that angry because everybody had gotten a piece of everybody. Even I spun Richard after a caution came out. I self-spun. I caused a caution myself. I made it through several. I finished like 6, so I can't even complain. It's just I just want to pretend it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that again. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I don't want to do that again.
I don't know if anybody wants to do that again. I don't know if that would have been better if we started with that race and then finished with the big track. No? All right. Well, nobody else has any thoughts about that?
Everybody would have loaded into the intermediate Vegas pissed.
Yeah, I have
It would have been
thoughts.
a shit show too. Yeah, I do too.
All right. Drew has thoughts.
So just to kind of frame my perspective, especially if you watch the SimTV broadcast, I was involved in as many wrecks as like literally anybody. And I still had a freaking blast. I thought, in spite of the excessive amount of cautions, and there were way too many, most of which didn't need to happen, and I caused one. I am not saying that I am not responsible for any of them, but I actually had a lot of fun despite that, even though it was really long. I wish it would have been 80 laps or 100 laps instead of 150. I think the track was actually really fun. I actually really disagree with Race. I think it really, I don't know. I like as out of it as I felt at the big track at the Bullring, I really felt like I could carry the apex, like I could carry a ton of speed, and it was a lot of fun. It was like kind of like the Bowman Gray is kind of what it felt like, right? Like just kind of chaos. And I think it could have been a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that car at that track. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but if we keep having guys just treat other guys with like zero respect, then that's what's going to happen, right? Like I don't dislike Chad Frankenfield, but like I know I raced him a ton, and he just threw the car underneath you regardless of what you were doing. And I don't know if that actually caused a caution, but I know that, like, dude, I got door checked by him, or maybe I didn't get door checked, but if I hadn't have avoided that situation, I would have gotten wrecked by him a couple times. And then, you race those guys like that, and like he literally complained about it over the radio. And I think that we got to figure that out, because I don't want to feel like a broken record. Like, I feel like I say it every week or every podcast since we didn't do one last week, but like we race each other all the time. Stop. Like, we don't need to do this all the time to each other when we see each other every week. Like, let's be better.
Amen. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
hands in
it.
the air.
That's it. I don't know where we lost it. Where it hadn't always been like this, I mean, we used to have pretty respectful guys in here, and I don't know when that line was crossed, but it you know it is pretty annoying to not even be like maybe a half straightaway back and then the guy throw it in out of nowhere. I mean, kind of no
That's
need
my
for that.
favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I could get so lost in that conversation that it's not even funny. But
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like Chad was the only one.
Oh, no.
But he's a guy I was around a lot, and I saw him do it firsthand. And I'm sure there were a ton of other guys that did it. And it's like, dude, like what do you think's gonna happen when you do that? Like, not like I don't want to get wrecked, so I'm probably gonna give you room. Not every time, because I'm gonna get fed up eventually. But like, stop doing that stuff.
mhm.
Yeah, I think when Justin was asking like what happened, like why are like you kind of like where Drew's getting at too, you know, why are we dumping each other like when we meet together each week to do something for fun? I feel like, you know, as time's gone on and people have left, I feel like instead of like one big group, there's like several groups. And then it's just maybe people aren't as tight knit. Like, you know, I obviously pay a little more attention when I'm around Corey or Justin, just because I mean I know them and they're friends of mine. I don't want to dump them. And then at the same time, them being friends of mine, I know I can race hard around them. So it's like it's a good thing too. I don't know, but I agree. There's a lot of you make a good point. You know, why the hell are we just dumping each other when you got to see me next week? Like, this is for fun. Like, quit.
And the worst part about that is when you get around those types of people, it changes your mentality about how you race them. It's like, well, they're going to race me like that. I'll race them the same way back. But then I feel like that's a toxic situation where that just seeps into possibly your whole race in general, where you start to race everybody like that. And that I think is where that all stems from. I don't know that for certain, but I mean, I don't know what else it could be. Like you said, there's people that you can race around and know that, you know, you won't have a problem in the world. And there's other people who, you know, will race you like a jerk, for, I guess, a lack of a better comeback right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
Hell
man.
yeah, dude. They'll fuck your bitch for a 16th place finish, man.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's another thing
My
I don't
take, though,
understand.
I mean, I just want to say my take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bullring, man, I had zero expectations for that. I think I mentioned that in the committee or the admin, whatever. But I had no expectations. I knew it was going to be a shit show probably, but I didn't think it was going to be that goddamn bad. Setup was good. You can't blame the setup. I think the track, though, I think that might be the toughest track on the schedule, and I didn't know that firsthand before that we did the race. Really small, obviously. One groove. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but whenever we had to restart, you were in the turn and you got on the throttle, and it was like the car was going to spin out a little bit more extreme than some other places like a Bristol or a Martinsville. I did that a couple times starting third, and I don't think that was me jerking off because I was so far up front, but rather it was just me trying to restart the car and it was going sideways. I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't have fun. I got into Klooster. I done wrecked him. First wreck I think I did all year. I parked myself. I was like, that's enough. I've had enough of this. So that was it, man. I mean, we had 20 cautions the entire night, 18 in that race. Sim told us to go fuck ourselves and didn't even do the interviews, which is completely understandable. Terrible race, and I hope that's done. Hope we got that out of our system. As far as the respect stuff goes, I don't know, man. If you talk to some of these people, they think they don't do anything wrong. So how can you beat a dead horse with some of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If you have any suggestions, I'm all for that, trying to get that shit figured out. But I think it's just a personality thing and an iRacing thing. I think that's a common thing throughout iRacing. To have that attitude where you do nothing wrong and everything I do is just fucking godlike, right? I think that's pretty much a common thing throughout all of internet and all of video game competition.
Indeed. And I don't know if anybody else has anything to add on to that, but I think we may have milked that cow dry, at least for this week.
Yeah, you can milk my cow dry.
Amen. All right.
Corey made a good point though that like maybe we should have more camaraderie, but how can you move forward when the other side, in whatever case, is like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. What's your problem? It's like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin, whenever
Goes with the
if you
clown.
want to do my rant section now, or you want to do it later, it's basically expanding
Go ahead.
upon
Expound.
that.
I thought
All right,
you got,
so we'll just-
I thought you got it all out. I was gonna say,
Oh,
you got anything
dude,
left.
if you know anything about me, it's that I always have something to say. All right. So I think we should, and this is not critical of Corey. Corey, I think you do a great job of running the league. It's just something that kind of popped into my mind.
Ooh.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, boo me all you want. It's cool. I think that a possible solution to this problem of people wrecking other people and then basically be like, well, I'm not going to claim that caution. Screw it, right? And I would be more than happy to do it. I will find the time. Is if there's a caution, and it's blatant that someone was at fault that didn't claim it, and we review the race, and we find that no, this person was obviously at fault. They didn't claim the caution. Vacate their points for the freaking race. I think that would, right? Like, I think we would change the way we do stuff that way. Maybe that's a little harsh, but
that might get tough.
Like, dude, I mean, I think
that's a good way to clear the whole roster out and everybody goes somewhere else,
I know that's fair.
Well, I
But,
mean,
like, I feel like we need to do something, man, because like I've seen a ton of wrecks and I'm like, no, this dude caused it. And he doesn't claim it, and then we just move on, and he doesn't take the EOL, and then stuff like the bull ring happens when I get involved in a wreck. I'm like, dude, I don't know, maybe I caused it, no one else is calling it, so I'll claim it, but like no one else does that stuff, and so I'm like, well, then I'm the chump, like, so why am I going to keep claiming cautions when I just get screwed and no one else seems to give a shit? So I think we need to revisit that in some way. We don't have an off-track official, which is unfortunate, and it shouldn't be up to Corey to sacrifice his race, but man, we got to hold people accountable for like dumb stuff that they do.
As much as that sounds like a bad idea, I don't know. Maybe it's better to have the people with the egos the size of Texas just not here.
Hey, whoa. Don't you talk shit about Texas.
I'm not talking shit about Texas. It's huge. That's what I'm getting at.
Fair.
No, but seriously, some of those people are just toxic to be around. If we're being honest, some of those people can just,
Damn.
I don't know what else to say. And it's not just in this league. I know there's other people on iRacing who are the same way. I'm not singling out this league. I'm not singling out anybody. There's a good portion of the iRacing community who's like that, and it's just awful.
Go on Twitter.
Preach.
Go on Twitter. Just search iRacing and go to recent and just scroll down and you'll see all kinds of fucked up shit.
That's what
man.
I'm saying. I mean, I learned a very long time ago that, the way I raced before was not right. So I tried to change. And if anybody still has a problem with it, they can tell me and I will adjust accordingly. I know I'm not perfect, but I don't think that, if it's on me, I'm going to call it. I'm not going to try and, screw anybody's race and stuff like that. I lost my train of thought with that, but
well, I think I have a pretty good example, Justin, because we, at the end of the bull ring, we both raced each other pretty hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I kind of leaned on you trying to get by you for fourth at the end, but I don't think what I did was unfair, and I don't think what you did was unfair. There was a little bit of give and a little bit of take on both parties, and it ended up being a really hard, fair contest for fourth, and that's what we need to do. You can't just chop people's nose off if they show their nose, but you also can't dive bomb the freaking corner when you're a half a car length behind them going into the corner. Both of those things are equally wrong, and we need to hold people accountable for doing irresponsible, reckless things to other drivers that are just disrespectful.
Yeah. And I mean, this is stuff that probably should have been learned in the rookie class, honestly. And
yeah,
I agree with you that, it just doesn't help anybody when you race like that. The way we raced was perfect, and I don't know why we can't get more of that throughout the entire field. Well, I do know why, but we won't get into that, I guess. I don't know. It's just annoying, and we talk about this every week, and I'm kind of over it, honestly.
I'm just gonna start dumping dudes. I don't care. I'm not gonna win the championship anyways, so suspend me.
Well, I don't know if that's the best. I understand
It's
where you're coming from.
it's
but,
not. I'm not gonna actually do that.
I
but
know,
like that's how frustrating it is.
Right. But I mean, I'm sure there's at least one person who might have that same mentality that's serious about it, and that's not a good way to go about it. I mean, I know there was at one point, I think with Nick, where, he cut my note, and this is Indelicato, not Miller. Miller is a saint, but who could do nothing wrong. But I know I got upset at him at one point, but it's just like, when you're that not long into a race, when you're that like 6 laps in and you're already defending your position like it's the last lap, it's like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm not trying to single him out because it's happened to me multiple times, but it's just a broken record at this point that I wish we could get rid of in this league and in iRacing as a whole.
We need like a real life fight system where like I can meet you and we can fight each other after the race. That's what we.
Well, I mean, you used to be able to do that, but Corey kind of put the hammer down on that one. So.
What was that?
I think it was like back in 2015 when everybody, like after the race, not everybody, but every race there was at least one sort of pushing match. So. That's why.
Hey, what's up? I live in South Austin. If you have a problem with me, come to the F1 race. We can hash it out.
Pretty sure I did that 3 times because back then I just really didn't give a shit. And then I matured and I'm like, hey, people hate this. And I kind of hate it too. So I'm going to stop doing this. So.
See? Right. Justin used to be spicy. We used to have a bad opinion, but now he's great. I love classic Justin.
I was awful back then. But that's when I realized I was like, hey, I think when I got called out in a league message, not in this race or in this league, but in another one, I was like, all right, I need to reconsider what's happening here because I'm not making a bunch of people happy. So
it's like if everybody dislikes what you're doing, it's not everybody else's problem. It's your problem. You are the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not saying that I am not guilty of that, but like ultimately, like if everyone's saying like, hey, stop racing like an asshole to me, and you're like, oh, that's, everyone's just out to get me. No, they're not. You're just racing everyone like an app.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, I think we've beat that horse to death. We can get into this if you guys would like, the positives and negatives from, I don't know, at least the big track. I don't know if we really want to get into the small track because that's just going to probably take another hour. But Corey, we'll start with you, the positives and the negatives. And you can get into the bull ring if you'd like.
Positives of Las Vegas was obviously that green flag run. We need to get more of that into the league. That's probably the only positive I can think. Negatives? Are we talking about negatives yet?
We are. You can
do
both. Yeah, do both.
Okay, negatives. Basically that whole like hour and a half I wasted running at the bull ring. Yeah, man, that was probably not a good idea to put on the schedule, but still had some interest in that. Negative would be anybody that bought that track to run it Monday night. Monday night. No, I don't know. All jokes aside, that wasn't very fun, and then I hate that we had that. But it is what it is, and we'll move on to Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, race. Your take.
My positives was I agree. The green flag lap from Vegas was really fun. Watching the sun go down on iRacing, I really enjoyed that. Any chance I can do it. Watching the track rubber in, the comers and goers, the tires fall off. It was just classic iRacing, league racing. It was really, really fun. And then, the whole negative was when I gridded for that bull ring race. I respect Corey for trying to do something different. I like the idea of a doubleheader where you just go across the street to the other track. But that track sucks. But yeah, that's my negative. That whole effing race. But hey, congrats to whoever won it though. I'm sorry you won that race, but hey, good win. I'm sorry that's the race you win. Was it James Miller? Was it?
I think so.
Sorry,
yeah.
James.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
James. Good win though,
I
but
think
everything
he
else.
sat on the pole, and
I think
he
he,
just
like,
stayed in
been-
front the entire time.
Hey, respect to that. That's a winning strat right there. Respect.
There you go. All right, Drew.
So my positive is going to be a little different. I know I have been a little bit critical of Tanner in this podcast series, but I think he's a great example of somebody who has been kind of aggressive in the past. And then I look at what he did at the bull ring, and I saw a lot of give and take from him, and it was perfect, right? Like I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or like shame them in any way. I just want people to race each other with respect. And I saw Tanner back out of situations that I think he wouldn't have backed out before, which I think was awesome of him to kind of grow from being kind of hyper aggressive, especially earlier on in 3 wide. I haven't known him for that long, but I think that was a real positive, is seeing like people like kind of consider that stuff. So I think that's a really, really good example. I think the negative is again, it's going to be a little different for me. It's blaming other people for what you do. I'm sorry, number 51, but it's not the 28's fault that you tried to force a 3 wide where there was no lane for you. That is not other people's fault. That is your fault. Don't go over the radio complaining for, I don't know, it felt like 5 freaking minutes that, hey, car high, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. Stop complaining. You chose to make that move. It didn't work. Yeah, the caution kind of screwed you. You were the fastest guy. But ultimately, like, you chose to think that this risk is worth it. It wasn't. That's your problem.
I think it was the hottest take we've had this entire podcast. God damn.
Sizzling,
sweating.
son.
I am
Sizzling.
sweating.
Yeah. Positives for me, I don't know. I liked the way the bull ring raced. If we could have got long runs, maybe I could have had a shot at it. I don't know. I was in third until I decided that I didn't want to put it into third. I actually wanted to put it into first on a restart and then looped it like an idiot. So that was fun. The best thing about the bull ring, by the way, was I had maybe a minute of damage. I came in, repaired it, not all of it, maybe got to 48 seconds, and then got caught up in another one and had like 2 minutes worth of damage. And then I just said, fuck it. And I ran, and the car actually felt better with the damage than it did with the no damage. It just turned better. I don't think the speed was there anymore, but that thing turned like a son of a bitch. So that was cool. That's my positive, I guess. My negative was me burning off the tires in the first race and then never being able to recover. So yeah. Takeaways, just whatever you can take away from whatever this week was, Corey.
I don't know, dude. Let's just I'll have a mutual stroke and move on to Iowa. There you go. Start coughing.
My bad. I thought I muted then coughed. I unmuted then coughed. My bad. Damn it.
Well, Brace, we're moving on to you anyways. So,
my takeaways are that you need to pay attention when your mic is muted or not, and that I respect Corey. I always respect Corey trying some new shit, and sometimes it bangs, and sometimes it's the bull ring, and that's okay. I think hopefully we do something very similar to Vegas again, the intermediate. That was really fun. We're going to Iowa. How fun would that be? Under the lights? Let's do it again. That's my takeaway. Is that Iowa should be like Vegas 1.
there you go. All right, Drew, what's up?
My takeaway is just that I need to be better at these intermediates, man. I suck at them, and I just need to figure it out. I don't know. It's not going to be a hot take this time. It's just I need to figure that stuff out because I sucked at Vegas, and it's not a good feeling. So I'm going to get better.
There you go. I probably should have thought about this. My takeaway is don't burn the tires off next time, you fucking idiot. All right, great.
I got a takeaway.
All right, go ahead.
What if you came across like a stripper or something and she had a tramp stamp and it said the bull ring on it? How would you feel?
I'd clear. I'd
Dude,
stay away from that shit.
I'd take her
she's
for a
gonna
ride.
she's gonna be down for some dirty stuff. You
Oh
know?
my gosh. dude.
Yeah. There's gonna that's gonna be like the Texas hashtag no limits. That's what she is, right?
Oh man.
All right,
Oh,
she
man.
dive your turn one.
That's pretty underrated.
She'd Frankenfeel you so hard.
Ayo. All right. I think that's it for this week. Before we start going out of control.
Iowa's cartoon race cars. Run your cartoon race car scream if we get this out before Monday.
Listen, I have that in my notes, Corey. I was
Okay.
gonna mention it. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you run your cartoon scheme.
Yeah. All right. Great. Before we get to that though, Five Flags, the season finale for the super late models. Corey, I guess before we go, since it is the season finale, do you have anything you want to say about that league or that series? Because it's been pretty fun. On a serious note.
Thanks for all the people for showing up. No, dude, it's been good. That series has reminded me a lot of the early console 3-wide days. We have a smaller field, and everybody's just out there hanging out, having fun, playing a game. It's not a uber serious kind of series, but it's good to just hang out on a Sunday night and race a super late model. I had fun. I don't know what the plan is moving forward with Sundays, but I definitely enjoyed the super late models.
Good deal. Well, if you guys bought a charter for that, feel free. Hang out with us on Sunday. Season finale, Five Flags, 150 laps, 50 laps short, I believe, of a snowball derby. I think that's 200 laps, isn't it? Anyways.
We'll go with it.
Yeah, I'll go with it. But yeah, should be fun. And as everybody else mentioned, Monday, cartoon race car. Just paint a cartoon race car. I mean, it's not that hard. If you don't have any skill whatsoever, just take like Chucky from Rugrats, throw it on the front of your car. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, man.
Do Steve from Minecraft.
Oh,
All right. On that note, we're gonna head out. All right.
Please run the V8s. Don't crush my dreams. Please run the V8 series. Please.
You heard it here first, folks. I don't think I'm running that series, but you never know what'll happen. So yeah. In conclusion, Texas sucks, and the bull ring was trash. And with that, that's gonna do it for us. For Corey, for Race, for Drew, I'm Justin. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week? ? If we record it. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Good night.
goodbye.